Guys, it's Sarah, and today is going to be my October TBR. I have some good plans for October. I'm excited about them. I am going to be reading 10 books for my young adult literature class. I have them all picked out, and then I have a couple other ones on the docket as well. Just some things to kind of break some things up a little bit from all the YA I'm going to be reading, and some things I would just really like to get to. So let's get started. Okay, I'll talk about all my YA stuff first. These are going to be definitely the priorities for the month, obviously, but if any of these fit the required categories I'm planning to read them for, I will let you know what those are. 5 of these do. So the first one is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. Super excited to read this one. This is going to be for the required genre of an LGBTQIA+ book that I need to read. This follows a young boy who I believe goes to a writing camp, and he makes a connection with one of the instructors there, and I believe they form a romantic relationship as well. And he's kind of dealing with, like a coming of age type thing, dealing with his feelings and stuff like that. So Christina Lauren, absolutely adore them. I adore this cover as well. Like, oh my gosh, I love this cover so much. And I just bought this because, for my class and for my shelves. The next one I would like to read is Serpent and Dove. This is by Shelby Mahern, and this was sent to me by Jackie from Evil Queen Books, and I'm super excited to read this one. This one just came out. It is a young adult fantasy book, and it follows a witch who has to get married to a witch hunter. So yeah, I'm totally into this, and I've heard very good things. October's a great time to read it because it's going to be kind of like a spooky witchy type of thing, and I've heard great things. Like I said, a lot of people have been reading this recently and really liking it. It just came out, so I'm super excited to read it, and thank you, Jackie, for sending this my way. Next one, Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Finally, I'm going to read this book. I have been wanting to read this for so long. I don't know why I haven't just picked it up and read it, but I'm definitely going to read it for my class. And this one is also part of a read-along called the Scythe-along, and it's one that is being hosted by Amanda at the Curly Reader, so I will leave her announcement down below if you guys are interested. It is going to be the first 2 weeks of October, so if you are interested in maybe reading this, you can jump in right now and still do it. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, nothing. Every time I even mention this book, people are like, I love that so much. So very excited to read this one. The next one is going to be actually the first one that I'm planning on reading, and that is An Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Yes. This is a library copy, and man, it is beat up. Look at that. It's like water damage. Ugh. But this is going to be for a banned or challenged book for my class, because I do need to read a banned or challenged book, and it's perfect for that. And this is the perfect time to do it because everyone's talking about the banned books and all that right now. So I am buddy reading this with Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, and we are going to read it together because she's also reading it for her book club. So we thought, let's read it together and do it at the same time. So I'm excited to read this one. I've heard really good things about it, even though it's challenged or whatever. It's challenged on so many different lists I looked up when I was doing research on what I was going to read for this topic. And man, this showed up on almost every single list. So I was like, well, that's the one. The next one that I plan to pick up is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. And this is one that I've had on my shelves for a while, and I just have always wanted to read it. It is a young adult mystery thriller book. So, something a little bit different for this class to read something that's like a thriller and a mystery. So we'll see. And this follows, I believe, 4 people that go into detention, and then one of them dies. And so it's like trying to figure out why this person died and who killed them. So I'm excited. The next one is going to be a requirement for reading a contemporary and realistic fiction book, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I got this from the library because I'm not the biggest fan of John Green, to be honest with you. I did read The Fault in Our Stars, which I loved. I did love that book, but I haven't really been interested in his other books at all. But this is going to be kind of the same thing with The Rainbow Rowell. He's such a popular author that I feel like I should know a little bit of his work in order to be able to speak about it and speak to it and understand why young adults love him so much. So I figured I would read this one because it's, number one, incredibly short. Look at this. It is so short, and it's on the Great American Reads list as well, which is a list I'm working my way through. So I figured, 2 birds with 1 stone on this one. And the next one that I plan to read is called Among Others, and this is by Jo Walton. This is a young adult fantasy book that actually has won the Hugo and the Nebula Awards, but I believe this is an older book. Let me see if I can figure out when this was published. But this is one that my professor talked about. We had a discussion one week about science fiction and fantasy, and she mentioned this book and said this is like a must read if you really like the science fiction and fantasy genres. This was published in 2010. So she said it's like a must read if you really like those. So I was like, oh, interesting. And I've never heard of it. And I do like science fiction and fantasy. I'm getting much more into those genres now. So I figured I would go ahead and read it. Again, this is very short. I found it at the library. So I'm going to read this one as well. And for a science fiction book, which is a requirement, I am going to read Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I'm so excited to read this. I've had this for so long, you guys. Years I've had this book, and I'm finally going to read it. I'm going to listen to the audiobook while I physically flip the pages and read along as well. I have heard that's the best way to do it because the audiobooks are supposed to be amazing, but you also want to have the visual of what happens in here because these are all told through different medias here, as you can see. Like text messages and different types of things and reports and, all that stuff. So I'm hearing to do both at the same time. So that's what I'm going to plan to do. And I've also heard it goes very quickly. So I may just pick a day, sit down and concentrate on only this for a while, see how far I can get, that kind of thing. But we do have to read a science fiction, and this is going to be my pick for that one. And the last book for my class is going to be The 57 Bus. This is written by Dashka Slater, and this is a nonfiction book, which is a requirement for my project. So this is going to fulfill that. And I believe that this follows the true story of a young boy, I think, who sets fire to somebody else on a bus, and it's a hate crime type thing. I'm not exactly sure what it all entails yet, but I've heard very good things about it. Lindsay from Lizzie's Little Library actually recommended it to me and said, if you need a nonfiction, this was great. It's a quick read and it's going to hit you in all the feels. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'd also heard about it on Katie's channel from Girl About Library. So I know she read it and enjoyed it too. So if those two liked it, I think I'm going to like it as well. And I do have it currently on the way to me from the library. It's in transit right now. It had to come from another branch. So as soon as that gets in my hands, I'm going to read that this month too. And I do have a couple others set aside here to read for this month too. The first one is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is book number 4 in the Throne of Glass series, which I'm currently reading through. I have already started it and I've started my vlog, but I'm 60 pages in. I haven't picked it up for a couple weeks though, so I do need to get back and make some progress in this one, but a reading vlog will be coming this month for this one too. And then I do have 2 5-star predictions that I need to read as well. I kind of need to read 2 a month to make sure I'm keeping up on those. First one is going to be It's Always the Husband by Michelle Campbell. And this was sent to me by Lisa. So I definitely want to read this one. I do have the audiobook for this one already, so I may go ahead and listen to this one and listen while I'm at the gym. But I'm very excited to read something by Michelle Campbell finally. And then I also want to read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. And I thought October would be the perfect time to read this. This was sent to me by Lindsay, and I believe that this is going to be a very creepy and spooky atmosphere type of book, so I thought October would be the best time to listen to this one and see what I think. And last but not least, very not least, I'm going to get started on the Grant County series by Karen Slaughter. So I plan to read the first book, Blindsided. It's not very long. And if it's anything like Karen Slaughter's other books, I'm going to fly through it because she's going to keep me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And I'm very excited to start reading this series. I do plan to binge read the entire Grant County series and the Will Trent series to prepare for the next Will Trent that has already been announced that will come out in August of 2020. It already has a title, and I'm very excited to kind of get myself to the point where when that book comes out, I'm ready to read it, and I will be completely caught up on Karen Slaughter. So yeah, but I got to start at the beginning, which is the first book in the Grant County series, so this will be happening in the month of October. I also do plan to participate in Spookathon, which is a readathon hosted by Books and Lala, and she's already made her announcement, so I will leave that link down below if you guys are interested in checking that out. I believe that is mid-month. I think it's the 14th through the 20th from what I'm remembering of the dates, but I do plan to participate in that. I don't know If I'm going to vlog it, maybe I will. I don't know if I'm going to do a separate TBR or if I'm just going to do it on Instagram. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys want down below. If you want a TBR video, I can definitely do that. If you just want to follow it on Instagram, I can just make Instagram posts. At this point, I don't know what I'm going to do quite yet. I have a couple weeks to decide, but let me know what you prefer down below. If you want like a TBR and a reading vlog and all that stuff, or if you just want like show us on Instagram what your progress is, that type of thing. Let me know. I'll do whatever you guys want. All right. Wish me luck. Lots of reading, but I'm excited. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.